the way I have. Just fooling around, guys. What? Was I too loud? Look, I'm a magical rap battle assassin, everlasting, ain't no need for a caption. Me and my team, we so heroic, there's no opponent that can take us down.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of the Superfan Addicts podcast. I'm your host, Showdawg Prisby, and man, do we have a show for y'all tonight. But before we get started, let me introduce to you tonight's starting lineup. He hails from Phoenix, Arizona. He's the driving force behind some of the most competitive and well-organized youth basketball tournaments in the region. As tournament director for Full Court Fusion Academy, he brings structure, passion, and a deep love for the game to every event. With a sharp eye for talent and a commitment to excellence on and off the court, he's helped shaping the next generation of hoop stars. Please welcome Rick McGee. McGee.
Hey, what's going on?
We have our guest carries a proud.
How you doing, sir? How you doing?
Legacy. He's a third-generation media member, being the son of the late, great Les Levine, a beloved voice in Northeast Ohio known as the voice of truth and reason. Following in his dad's footsteps, he's carved out his own path in sports media and community storytelling. Please welcome Cleveland's own Jeremy, the Dream, Levine. And last, but certainly not least, he's one of the most recognizable faces in all of Raider Nation. A silver and black warrior who's been bringing passion, intensity, and unmistakable style to the stand for over 30 years. With his face paint, spiked armor, and unshakable loyalty, he's more than a fan. He's a symbol of what it means to represent Raider Nation. Please welcome the legendary Superfan himself and the 2021 Pro Football Hall of Fame Superfan Inductee, Wayne, the Violator, Mabry. Woo, man, was that an introduction or what, y'all?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's go.
Well, how's it going, guys? We good? Everybody good tonight?
Fantastic, baby.
Okay, so before we start, I want to go around the room and have everybody expound on, whatever you guys are doing right now. I know a lot of people have charities, have a lot of function and events that they do year round. So anything you want to talk about real quick, 2-3 minutes, go. And Rick, you start first. Go on, Rick. Oh, hey, Rick, you're muted. Unmute yourself. There you go. Am I the only one that can't hear Rick?
He's muted.
Rick, you're still muted. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Oh, there you go.
Can you? Okay. Beautiful. No, well, let's just go from there. I don't want to hold you guys up. But anyway, I'm out here in Arizona. I've been out here about 20 years. I'm originally from Youngstown, Ohio. I coached high school basketball, played sports in Youngstown. And me and Mr. Prisby went to high school together. He was a couple of years older than me. He was one of my role models.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
big Browns fan, big Pittsburgh Steelers fan. So as we,
All right, cool.
move forward with just what I'm doing.
All right, let's move over to Jeremy. Jeremy, what you been doing these days, Jeremy?
Showdawg, great. First of all, thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here with all you guys tonight, surrounded by a couple of Hall of Famers, which is pretty awesome. So, based here, lived my entire life in Ohio, in Cleveland, Ohio, and down in Columbus. And for the day job, working for Odyssey, the radio home of the Cleveland Browns here in Cleveland, Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan with the flagship there. And just been very fortunate, as you referenced, third generation media member. Levine has been in sports media in Cleveland, Ohio for 88 consecutive years. And I'm honored to be a part of that legacy of my great uncle Sam, who founded the Cleveland Kegler in 1937 and went on to found the Greater Cleveland Sports Hall of Fame. And he preceded my father, Les Levine, who spent a 50-year Hall of Fame broadcasting career on TV and radio here in Cleveland. And honored to be a part of that and working with companies here in around town. And one of the interesting things, my involvement with Greeny Sports Cards and our most recent endeavor is with McNeil, known as reflog_18 on socials. We have a Muni-Lock Kids set out right now with a portion of the proceeds supporting Greater Cleveland Food Bank. So if there's any shameless plug to pitch tonight, it's helping kids and supporting the Greater Cleveland Food Bank. And you can do that at greenycards.com.
Outstanding. So Wayne, I ain't seen you in a while, but go ahead and get your 3 minutes in as well before we get started.
Look, hey, first of all, Showdawg, thanks for having me on, man, brother. It's an honor. Like I say, we haven't seen each other really since the induction ceremony. So first of all, thank you for your platform. Me personally, I've just been busy walking through doors that's opening since that induction. I have my usual charities that the helping the little warriors, kids with cancer. So we have a campaign going now to take about 5 kids and their families to a Raider game in Vegas this year. So other than that, brother, I'm just enjoying my line of cigars and my V57s and running my clothing line, motosports.com.
Outstanding. Woo, man, you just said a whole mouthful. Hey, but wait, before we get started, I have to say this. And Cody, if you could bring that, can you pull that picture up of Violator again, real quick? Just the scary picture, because what I wanted to say is during this whole process, I seen the picture, and of course I had never met or even seen Wayne a day in my life. But when I seen the picture, I was like, oh man. First of all, I was like, well, he definitely won. But then when we got down to the Super Bowl, I was a little nervous and timid in meeting him because he just looked so intimidating, and he's the completely exact opposite. He's one of the most loving, giving individuals that I ever met. And that's the impression that you left with me. And I just had to share that with everybody. He might look mean, but he's not a mean guy. That's a role that he's playing.
That's right.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, it looks like Rick's having a little technical difficulty. So yeah, you gotta stop. Yeah. All right, so let's get started with the first item of topic. So it seems that Joe Flacco is telling everybody that he is not a mentor. And I'm glad that he came out and he clarified the statement by saying that however he answered that, he knew that the media was going to get it. Because if he said, I don't want to be a mentor, then it would seem like, he's a selfish person. But if he said that, hey, I want to be a mentor, then it seems like he doesn't want to be a starter. So I get his whole thought process and the meaning behind all that. But my question to you guys is this. Do you think someone in a leadership role such as Joe Flacco, do you think that he has to actually come out and say that, or can he be one of those lead by example type individuals? Because to me, it's not so much what you say; it's always what you do. So let's start it off with Jeremy. Jeremy, what's your thoughts on Joe Flacco and him not wanting to be a mentor?
Ray, I think this is fun and fodder for fans to talk about and the media to grasp onto and talk about off the field. The reality is there's a lot of different ways to leadership in sports particular. People can lead in different ways, primarily through their actions and how they play. And Flacco has been here before. He proved himself in the locker room. he wants to play, he wants to compete. I don't have an issue with him saying that. And his actions and the way he conducts himself in meetings, on the field, how he calls plays, how he rallies his teammates together, that will mean more from a leadership position and a mentor position. And those in the QB room will learn more by his actions and being around him. He doesn't have to say he's a mentor. He can prove it as a leader, as he's done his entire career. And leadership comes in different form and fashion in different positions. So I'm glad he's here. The young QBs, the draft picks, will learn from him, being around him. They'll learn more from him experientially than him, anything he could say.
I couldn't agree more. What's your thoughts on that, Violator?
Me personally, listen, the media is just doing their job, putting stuff out there as they get it. You know, they can't read anybody's mind, but on a personal note, I was raised rather with that notion of I can show you better than I can tell you, because in the South, we had a thing called lip service.
Right. Rick, what you thinking?
You know what? I kind of agree with Flower. That guy, close to 40 years old, and he just there to compete. I mean, he's not there to be nobody's babysitter. He's just there to do his job. And Harvard, you know, you probably look at he might play 5 to 6 games this year, max.
Right.
You know, because he's older. He's good, but what he's saying is he's waiting for those guys to figure out who's going to be what. Then he'll probably, you know, take one under his wing, because everything is kind of wide open right now.
Right. Okay. Great answer, guys. So next up we have Shedeur Sanders. Woo, man. So Shedeur is basically saying, he's telling Joe, hey, listen, you need your shoes shined. You need me to get you something. You need some hot coffee. Whatever you need, I'm your guy. And, you know, a lot of people are kind of, you know, going in on Shedeur, you know, why are you sucking up? But the other thing is, that's usually what they do with rookies. He just basically jumping the gun and saying, yo, before y'all make me do this, I'm letting you know that I will do this. So what are your thoughts on this, Violator? Do you think that the rookie is doing the right thing, or should he have waited for one of, you know, like all rookies, you know, for the rookie hazing and all that whole kind of thing? What's your thought, Violator?
First of all, brother, besides that brashness that they think he walks with, which they're comparing him to his dad, that shows humility, first of all, and a willingness to be a sponge, which I would look at it as ultimate respect. And right there, that gives him a check on my box.
Okay. Ricky, what's your thoughts on that subject?
I'm right with him. I think you got to look at it like this: only on the field, but off the field, about this decisions he make. That kid don't get no trouble, so he knows coming in, he always gonna have respect for his adult authority, and that's the problem with these young kids now making all this money. They have no respect for nobody. That's why the money comes and the money goes. So I think he's doing a great thing. Come in there and listen to Flacco. Just laying up under.
Okay. Jeremy,
you mentioned
what's your thoughts on this?
Ray, I love this kid. I can't sit here and tell you today whether he's going to be a starting quarterback on this team, if he's going to have a 10-year career. But I love everything about him. I didn't really get caught up in the pre-draft noise and however he slid down the draft board. But what I do know, on a very microscopic, not even comparing on a big level, based on your introduction, I can relate to having grown up with a parent in the spotlight who has achieved at the highest level in their profession and what that pressure feels like and to be surrounded with that. But at the same time, he's more prepared than any rookie coming in, knowing what it takes to make it in the NFL, knowing what the spotlight looks like, being prepared for the PR game. And the only thing left for him to do is just prove it on the field. And I don't have an issue with what he's saying. He came right in. He's made some charitable efforts in town. He comes in early, he works hard, he stays late. He's doing everything he needs to do to make the team. Where he falls in the depth chart, that'll sort itself out. But I really like watching this kid, and it's entertaining, the QB competition right now. So good for him. There, in some cases, Shedeur can't win for trying either way, and he knows that. But he just has to go out and play football, and the rest of it, he's playing 3D and 4D chess with the PR game and everything else around it.
Right. So yeah, I mean, I think Shedeur is handling it the right way. He's coming in, he's being humble. He's I can't find a better word, so I'll say he's sucking up to the quarterback at this point. And that's only because I can't think of a better line to use right now. But no, I'm loving everything that I'm hearing.
He knows there's a hierarchy, right? He recognizes I'm a rookie coming in. I'm third or fourth on the depth chart. I've got to prove it. And by the way, that comment happened to be caught on, as I believe, on just an Instagram live, or he happened to be live. He didn't say that to a reporter. He wasn't in a setting where he was asked the question. A teammate asked him, would you do this for Joe? And he essentially said, yeah, of course. I'll do whatever he needs. And so I love that stuff coming out of him.
Right.
Hey, like Jeremy said, Ray, that just shows your upbringing, so to speak, because once that seed has been planted at a young age, you carry that the rest of your life. It doesn't matter what situation you're confronted with, you know how to handle yourself.
Right. So our buddy Joe Patonio is in the news again. He basically said, well, after he talked to his family about, coming back for a year, then he sat down with the new offensive line coach, Mike Bloomgren. And basically, in a nutshell, they're going back to that zone read, which they did so well a couple years ago. So my question is, do you guys think, and this is probably more of a me and Jeremy question, because you guys, I don't know how well you guys know about the, this particular situation, but in a nutshell, a couple years back, they did the zone read, and they were probably one of the top 5 offensive lines in the NFL. So, Jeremy, do you think getting back to the zone read will bring us some more glory days, especially with the new running backs, that we have?
Yeah, time will tell. We've seen this before with high expectations, and the bottoms fall out, and it seems to happen every year. But what I do like out of this situation, and I'll include Myles Garrett in this as well, even though money does talk, and that brought him back. For the year they had last year, the complete disappointment and the frustrations and things that bubbled up, you have players that want to be here, and Myles is coming back, and for Joel to be on the fence of, do I retire? Do I not put my body through this anymore? Do I commit to my family? I've made enough money. I don't have to do this anymore. Something in this organization has called them back, and something has motivated him, and that spark, if nothing else, I think will improve it. And the real key, coincidentally, is really going to be the quarterback play, and who's commanding that offense, and does the pass set up the run and the zone read and all that. So I'm glad he's back. He's a beloved player here in Cleveland, and we'll see.
Great. Rick McGee, what's your thoughts on that, if you have any? Your mic is muted again. And he looks like he's frozen. Okay, we're gonna go to you, Violator. What's your thoughts on that, Violator?
Like you said, guys, I'm not very familiar with the inside with the Browns, but just hearing what he stated, that shows me that that's a player who wants to finish something that he started on a high note. And if he sees the right pieces coming together, which was basically you guys' problem this past season, he's all in. And with that leadership and the experience, I could see that O-line just going, being one of the top 5 or 6 offensive lines, man. And you have to also fit your running back scheme. And the backs that you guys have already run that zone scheme. So it should be great to watch.
Okay. So let's go. Let's get back to the whole quarterback competition, because let's face it, guys. That's going to be the talk of training camp. The quarterback competition, and hell, it's the talk of OTAs. I mean, who even talks about OTAs? We're talking about like we're headed into week 1 of the season, and we're not even, the veterans aren't even in camp yet. But it seems that Coach Stefanski has emphasized that the starting quarterback decision will be based on performance, leadership, and the command of the offense. So having said that, and having some, you see what the tracker, I mean, come on, who keeps a OTA quarterback tracker? So that just lets you know how crazy this is. And what do we have? 3 superheroes, and I see, Gabriel is Superman. Okay, I got it. Hey, that's a good one, Cody. So having said that, Violator, if you had to make a pick, and I know you're probably not that familiar, but I'll give you 2 real quick. We picked up Pickett in the offseason from the Super Bowl champions, Philadelphia. We picked up Flacco in the offseason, who had that tremendous run with us 2 years ago. Sanders was 5th-round draft pick, Gabriel 3rd-round draft pick. With having said all that, and looking at the tracker, which one of these guys do you think is going to be leaps and bounds ahead when all the smoke clears?
Well,
we'll go to you, Violator.
Yeah, we already know that Joe, like you say, he may play, say, 4 or 5, maybe 6 games. And he's just going to be a relief, so to speak. But the real competition, I think, is going to be between Pickett and Showdawg. I've watched Gabriel's whole college career playing in Oregon State, so but I just question his stature, so to speak, and especially in you guys' division. He's not the biggest guy, even like Showdawg. He's slight of frame, so to speak, but he's been groomed for this position. So Pickett is the one who I think is under the most pressure out of this bunch, because he's been around a lot, but how does that experience help him take the edge over this young and up-and-coming Showdawg Sanders?
Good answer. Jeremy, what you got for me?
Ray, I know that Cleveland sports talk is the gift that keeps on giving. In this town, there's always something to talk about. We're talking about OTAs. These guys aren't even in pads or uniforms yet, and there's so much football to be played out. But it is an interesting dynamic, because you've got the old experienced vet with Flacco. You've got 2 draft picks, and this regime and most GMs are hard pressed to cut their own players. And Pickett, to me, is kind of the wild card and X factor. And I think as this plays out, one of these guys is getting traded. You can't keep 4 quarterbacks on the roster, and the play is going to prove that out. And I would, if I had to guess, I would say Pickett or Gabriel are going to end up getting traded. Somebody's going to get injured in across the league in preseason or before, and quarterbacks are always in demand. And in our case, they always say if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none. In this case, we have 4, so we have none right now. But I just hope one of these guys emerge. We know it's not going to be Flacco. He's beloved here now as well for his run, but we know what he is. He's at the tail end of his career. We need one of those other 3 to really prove that they could take the mantle and command this team for the next 5, 6, 7 years.
Okay. Well, my whole take on the situation is, it's almost obvious that Flacco is probably going to be the starter, but then the question mark is, when he does come out, who is it going to be Sanders? Is it going to be Gabriel, or will it be Pickett? And to be honest with you, at this point, I don't even want to make a prediction, because it's so exciting. I can't wait to see how this story is going to unfold. So I'm not trying to get a sneak peek to see what's going to happen at the end. I'm just here for the ride. So those are all great answers, guys. But this is the part of the show where we do the Man Cave Spotlight. So If you have a man cave, she shed, babe cave, sports sanctuary, send in a 3-minute video to Superfan Addicts podcast, and we'll feature it on the show. So tonight we are featuring Steve Archer's man cave. He's a Georgia Bulldog diehard, and to say that he's a fan is an understatement, and you'll see as soon as you see the video. Hit it, Cody.
All right, so right there we've got the Lars Tate, Tim Worley, Rodney Hampton, Garrison Hurst, Willie McClendon, Charlie Trippi's Barstools, using his house from 47 up until about his death. Charlie Trippi's gamer uniform over there. That's a Herschel Walker game jersey. Ben Zembiazi's helmet and Terry Hoag's helmet on the bar. We got a cardboard cutout of Kirby, a Fran Tarkenton sculpture, Herschel Walker's home and away and debut. Edgar Chandler, number 63. That was Pickens on the ceiling. You got Champ Bailey, DJ Shockley. You got Kirby Smart and Larry Munson's headphones hung up on the wall. Veron Haynes from the Hobnail boot. And we got the red curtain over there. We also got hobnail boots hung up somewhere else. Edgar Chandler, Goldberg, Pickens, Hines, Ward, Pollock. This is this pennant that ran on the stadium, 1929 for the debut of Sanford Stadium, Georgia football. It's the original pennant. LA Herald Express, signed by the MVP, Charlie Trippi. Beat UCLA for the 42 national championship. This is his All-American plaque here. These are actually personal artifacts of Charlie Trippi's. This is the AJC, signed by the MVP, Charlie Trippi. Also, a little bit harder to see in this video is also the LA Herald Express. This is his Charlie Trippi's Hall of Fame plaque. And that's the oldest aerial view coming up right there of Sanford Stadium, 1929. Original artwork. You can see a bunch of Letterman jackets dating back to the late 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, 80s. I've even got Champ Bailey from the 90s and Mims from the championship team and a couple other players. Charlie Trippi's stuff right there is All-American sweater, number sweater. And I'm not sure if it's going to be Champ Bailey's jacket here. Beautiful. Hard to come by, right? And then over here you've got Pat Dye, Ike Boland, Walter Rourke, Vince Dooley's coaching shirt with his ID badge. You're going to have over here Vince Dooley's jacket, his tie, his other ID badge. Stadium dedication, Steve Penley art given to me by Dooley with his ID badge framed in and all his coaching ties. Cicero Lucas, 1956. And then you got 1916's my oldest newspaper. These are newspapers from the Natty in 1980. So an article written about me there. And Amazon's got some great rugs. If you didn't know, now you do. Get a lot of compliments on that. You know, people often say, post the man cave, so you automatically think inside. Well, come on out, Archie. Man cave can also be outside. Show y'all what we got going on here. This is the dog house. So we got 3 TVs, 120 incher. We've actually got the paper towel dispenser from Sanford Stadium. I got to replace the batteries though. Vintage table, old signs. We've actually got the vendor sign here. This is all exclusive. This are actually the pylons before they're replaced with cameras. Turf patch from the practice field. We've got a Bose surround sound in here. It's like a Thunderdome. And got the projector up there. We've got more signs. We've got super comfortable couches right here. And got a nice little tiki bar here. This came from the actual president's suite at Sanford. One of the president's wives, I guess, didn't want to sit on cloth. It's our bocce ball court here. So in between halftime, we'll play bocce ball. We've got a lounge here. We've got outdoor couches that are in there. We got the ATL in here. This is all about to be expanded out, redone actually. Got the hot tub in here. Instead of 99 bottles of beer on the wall, we got 99 beer taps on the ceiling. It's a great hot tub. I'll probably get in it tonight. We're about to rebuild the decks. Move the hot tub. Actually, is going to go here. And then we got the pool over there with another tiki bar right there. But we're trying to get a new pool liner right now, so no pool tour today. But we got a fire pit that's going to be built here, a gazebo here, this right here when we're really wanting to have some fun here. You see, I do love my street signs, so I'll show you those. Yeah, this is a PA speaker. Since we do have about 30 seconds left. There you go. You got. So I like to skip traffic and make my money and get home. So it's kind of my screw you to. If anybody know what band that's from, let me know. So skip traffic. These are all laser lights in here. Peace out.
Salute. You're muted.
Georgia Bulldog fan.
Hey, man. Hey, that was off the chain, brother. That's the epitome of being that ultimate fan.
Right.
Over the top, but it's never too much for fans like us. We can appreciate. It's almost like looking at art.
Exactly. And obviously somebody's passion, lifelong passion. That passion didn't just happen, a couple of weeks ago or a couple of years ago.
Everything
That's
being new.
That's a lifelong passion.
Yes.
Wow. Well, hey, let's keep it moving. Our next segment, Word on the Street. So first up, we have the first word on the street. We have what we got, Cody? Right. So it looks like the Browns are talking about picking up a linebacker out of Arizona. What is his name? Well, I guess it don't matter. But the word on the streets is the Browns are heavily looking at this guy because JOK is out for the year, and I guess they don't feel comfortable going with the rookie that we got from UCLA. So my question is, and I know a lot of this stuff is just it's that time of the year, so they have to put out stories. But I was intrigued by this story because we are. I don't want to say paper thin, but we're pretty thin at linebacker, and I think this guy could be somebody that could definitely help out. What's your thought on that, Jeremy?
Ray, it feels a little bit like rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. We're talking about waiver wire pickups and trades for late draft picks and guys that you do have to fill out the roster, and you've got to, plug in those positions. But it's a little, disheartening when you're talking about just trying to get guys on the field to play and what that looks like for the big picture of making the playoffs and being competitive. And so, we're debating, 45 to 50 plus men on the roster, and if these are the storylines, most teams would appreciate that because they're trying to fill out the last couple of roster spots with guys who could play special teams and jump in a pinch. We're talking about guys in key positions that need to be filled.
Right. Right. Because Kazir White was the gentleman's name, and from what I read on him, he's basically a tackling machine. So yeah, it's just we got to fill out the roster. What's your thoughts on that, Violator?
Haven't seen Kazir when he was with the Chargers. He is a tackling machine, and if you guys are fortunate enough to get him, he's still young enough, and he's a thumper, but he can cover too. And in today's game, with as wide open and as many schemes that teams run offensively, you need almost a jackknife type of a guy, and he fits that bill. But he's definitely a thumper, and that's why he got my respect.
Got you. Well, yeah, I mean, at some point, whether it's him or somebody else, I really think they're going to have to bring somebody else in. I don't think they're going into the season with a rookie and I think Devin Bush and a couple of the other guys. They're going to have to bring somebody in, whether it's waiver wire or, like Jeremy said, first cuts. We might get somebody as well too.
And we had that guy, Ray. Unfortunately, prayers up for JOK, as Becky indicated. A guy, the jackknife, who was a tackling machine that could go, sideline to sideline and make plays. And unfortunately, he's hurt, and so that's a tough position to try and fill, especially late in the game.
So quick question before we go to the next topic. Quick question, Jeremy. Do you think it would, if JOK does come back, do you think it would be smart for the Browns to move him to safety as opposed, because to me as a safety, they can move him around almost like a jackknife kind of player, as opposed to, I just think he was just a little too small to be taking on those tight ends and guards and centers coming out at him all the time. Do you think he might be better suited as playing a safety spot?
I do. Whether he could do it or not, I think he can, but that neck injury is really scary, and to put him in the middle of the linebacker position, making plays and hitting people on every play and hitting those big linemen or backs coming out of the field, a guy like that who's as fast and as instinctive as he is, if you can give him a little more space, he can make plays. So I first of all, we hope his health is on point and that he can live a happy, healthy life. If he steps on the field, giving him as much space as possible, at least a little bit of protection.
And if I could piggyback on Jeremy, the smarter coaches can use a player to their strengths. And with this guy having this neck injury, and you know how critical that is, especially in the middle of the field where most of the power is. If he's moved to safety, say maybe Strong's or free safety, where he can just be, like, say, center fielder, so to speak, I think that would extend his career.
Hey, I've been saying it from the moment that as a matter of fact, when we drafted him, I'm like, okay, he's a linebacker, but I could see him because, it kind of reminds me, Jack Tatum played safety for Ohio State when he went to the Raiders.
Yep.
They dropped him back to safety, and we know what he did back there at safety. So yeah, Cleveland, if you're listening, JOK at safety, please. Hey, so you know what? It doesn't seem like we can escape the Kenny Pickett rumors, and it seems that there's already talk that he's probably going to be the odd man out. And one of the stories I read was that he was going to be traded before training camp started. We know New Orleans is looking for somebody. And there was another team, and it always escapes me. But yeah, so guys, whether it's Kenny Pickett or whatever, do you guys think that the Browns will move somebody prior to training camp? Because here's the thing, this is the thought process. You can't give four quarterbacks adequate reps in training camp. So something's gonna have to happen. So who do you guys, if it's not Pickett, who do you guys think is might be the odd man out for the Browns quarterback carousel? Go ahead, Violator.
Me personally, I think Pickett has the better upside as far as trade value because of his stature and and his statistics and all that. I think, like you mentioned, the Saints, yes, they definitely need a QB, even though they drafted this rookie. Pickett is not a rookie, so he may be better or quicker to assimilate the playbook and be ready to go just on natural ability alone. I think Dylan being the latest pickup for you guys, he could be like that guy that they hired on the practice squad.
Right. Okay. What you think of Jeremy?
I think first with Flacco, we know this guy could literally come in off the couch and be productive in the NFL. They're not going to be as concerned with getting him reps and acclimated in the preseason. So you're really talking about the three guys. Pickett's interesting because we're also talking about a guy now who is a Super Bowl champion. Whether he played or not, he was on the team. He has a ring. He was there every day. He knows what it takes to actually ascend to that level. There's something very valuable about that. The tough part is they actually drafted 2 quarterbacks this year. And again, those GMs have a hard time giving up on their draft picks. I think Gabriel is going to be the odd man out. I think if they're not going to trade Pickett, if he proves that he can play, Shador to me is still the most interesting candidate as a long-term solution here. So I don't know that Gabriel gets buried on the practice squad as a third round pick, admittedly ahead of where he was projected. He's probably not a guy that lasts through waivers, but they're gonna have to take that chance. They made those picks. They got to figure it out.
Right. Okay. Well, I think my thought is I kind of agree with the article. I think Pickett, like you said, he has probably the most trade bait value out there. And if somebody's willing to give up, because we know Andrew Berry loves draft capital. So if somebody's willing to give up a 4th, maybe even a 5th for him, I think he's gone. So because at the end of the day, and that's the part that makes the most sense. 4 quarterbacks aren't going to get the proper reps that they need, going into camp. So somebody is going to have to be the odd man out. And speaking of odd men out, our buddy Jedrick Wills pops up into the headlines again. It seems that he's made a business decision, and I'm sure Jeremy gets a kick out of that. He's made a business decision to sit out the whole year, which kind of took me back a little bit because I thought he sat out the last 2 years while he was on the team.
Yeah, there you go, right?
But I'm gonna take a step back. And Jeremy, what do you think on our former player and his business decision?
Yeah, God bless. He you need. Well, I think it was one of the illustrious GMs in this town. I don't even know who I'm quoting anymore. You need fouls names. Jed has never really mentally wanted to be here. We're not sure if he really wanted to play football. So you can't go into the foxhole with guys that you're not sure even want to be there. And so I talent's one thing, but give me guys that will outwork their competition and on a level playing field. If you got somebody who's undersized or undervalued or underappreciated, more often than not, those guys are going to outwork those guys with natural talent, but don't have it or don't have the heart to do it. And I don't want to question his heart necessarily, but he doesn't seem like he wants to play, and that's fine. Go make your decision and sit out for the 3rd year in a row and let somebody else fill in that spot.
Looking at it as the odd man out, so to speak. I'm just saying, Ray, but looks like this guy doesn't have what the GMs call a genuine love for the game. I'm just looking at his stature there from the photo, and God-given gifts of size. I'm not sure of his talent level, but there doesn't seem to be that hunger there. I don't know how long he's been in the league, but I heard you guys mention sitting out 3 years. So he at least has been in the league, 3 years? It doesn't sound like he still has that love for the game once he's made it to the NFL level. Like you say, business decisions. Do I really want to go through this now that I've made it? So we kind of have a saying down, so careful what you wish for.
Well, the whole business decision, that's kind of like an inside joke because he somewhere, I can't remember what game it was, but he made a business decision last year not to play anymore. And everybody just like the media ate him alive with that whole comment. So I just thought I was making a joke with the whole business decision too as well. Do we have that picture, Cody, of that sleek, slim down DeJuan Jones? Do you have that? If not, no big deal. But DeJuan Jones, somebody must have talked to him because look at him.
Wow.
Hey, Violator. Last year he had 2 stomachs. I mean, he was a big overweight, and to me, that was the only thing that was he didn't want to get in pro football shape for whatever reason. Yeah. And I believe it was probably because when he played high school, he was probably the biggest guy and didn't have any problem. College, biggest guy. Now he's in the pro. You're not the biggest guy anymore. And he realizes, wait a minute, I'm gonna have to hit this gym with Miles or somebody and get right. So yeah, he's basically our replacement for the guy that you just seen, Violator.
Okay. I remember when this guy came into the league, and like you say, he was a huge guy, but that works on the high school and college level. When you come to the pros, it's guys just as fast, but the guys that have that hunger are the ones who separate themselves and will literally take your lunch money.
Exactly. So we done pretty much wrapped up all the Browns news for the day. Let's switch gears and do some Raider news. So first up, and Violator, we're gonna have to weigh on you heavy on a lot of this. It seems that Tom Brady is under scrutiny because I guess he appointed Chip Kelly as the offensive coordinator, and we kind of know. And I'm just going from when I think it was Philly. Yeah, it was Philly. A lot of the players didn't. What's the word I want to use? They didn't bond well with him. They didn't play well with Chip. So a lot of people are, or I should say, the media thinks that he's probably better suited as a college coach. But hey, what do I know? So Violator, what's your thoughts on Chip Kelly coming to the Raiders?
First of all, let's start at the very top. That scrutiny with Brady will be ongoing. Trust me. And as far as Chip, now, like I say, I've seen him when he was a head coach with Philly. Some guys are just, and he was a great college head coach. And you saw what Ohio State did this past year. Like I say, that's kind of like one of my second college teams to really watch, just because of the level of talent that they bring in. But this guy had these guys performing like it was magistry on the field to watch them this past season. I think Chip is a damn good coordinator, and as a longtime Raiders fan, I'm more excited to see how he opens up our offense.
Okay. You got any thoughts? You got any thoughts on this, Jeremy?
Yeah, I do appreciate the back-to-back Buckeyes with DeJuan Jones and Chip Kelly. He's got a national championship on his resume now as a coordinator. And like Violator said, there may be some guys are just better suited for those positions than necessarily the leadership positions. And probably time away from the NFL game has shed some light and some experience. And it'll be interesting him coming back in the league. Not as a head coach, but as a coordinator, where he could just bear down and put the game plans together and take that experience with him. So,
this guy definitely can call plays. So that's been our problem for the last, I'm gonna go back and say 6 or 7 years. just a wizard at calling plays. You know, I used to get so pissed that I tell him, look, you can draw stuff up in the sand. Football is not that complicated. It's just calling plays to your strength of your team. And that's what I'm interested to see what he does with the addition of Genty, Beck, Dante Thornton. Yeah, I'm just, how is he going to use all his talent and speed?
Right. Well, you know, from reports, it looks like he likes to utilize his tight ends a lot, and he loves a ground and pound power game to complement his passing game. So I think his only issue is, see, college coaches, you could pretty much do and say anything to the players, and they have to listen.
True.
But when you start getting with these men, and they're all millionaires, some of them multi-millionaires, that's where I think the disconnect comes. And a lot of coaches, they try to use, you know, what got them there, you know, in college. And, you know, a lot of pro players just don't buy into it. So for your sake, Violator, your sake only, because I'm hoping that the Raiders buy into what Chip does, because like you say, he if nothing else, he can draw up some plays, and his offenses have always been very exciting. Yes. And by the way, I will see you. I think November 14th. Whenever the Browns play, I will be coming out. So I will see you. Mark it on your calendar, because I will see you.
It's already circled, trust me, and we will have a couple of drinks. So looking forward to that, brother. Hey, right. I wanted to add to that. The best coaches are the ones that you see that over their years, like we talking to guys with experience, they learn to adjust even their game. That's called growth. And if you're not stuck on ego so much, you can see these guys be flexible like chameleons. And Coach Carroll is that type of guy. He can reach even the most difficult player and pull the best out of that guy. And that's all you want, the business on the field. Now, off the field, you got to be grown men and make adult decisions.
Right. So have you heard the rumor that the Raiders possibly are looking at Tyreek Hill as a possible hey, I'm only reporting what I'm reading.
I don't mean to laugh either, but
no. Hey, man, Tyreek Hill, a Raider in that dome?
Yeah.
Hey,
but
Jeremy, hey, hold your thoughts. Let's go on over.
Okay.
Go ahead, Jeremy. What you thinking?
About Tyreek on the Raiders?
Yeah.
He'd be an interesting addition. The guy's speed is unmatched. Violator mentioned Genty earlier. That's going to be a weapon on that team. And if you add somebody like Hill, that's going to spread the field and give you the deep ball threat, that's going to open up your running game. And you've got potentially a generational running back there in the backfield.
Okay. Violator, I know you got a lot to say. Go ahead, take it away.
I'm gonna keep it short. I that laugh was genuine when you said Reek. But anyway, I personally feel that. Well, let me go back to the Reek thing. There's media people that always stirring up a new batch of Kool-Aid, and when this team is concerned, they come in 50-gallon drums. So. You know, I know it's summer and everybody's thirsty, but be careful what you drink. Some of that, I'm just saying, brother, some of that stuff is spiked. And I had to laugh because, listen, we've dealt with drama for, oh man, I'm gonna say 2 decades, but it's been pretty much since the late 80s. I put it that way. We started dealing with drama that I'd never seen before with these quote unquote youngsters. But, you know, we drafted a pretty fast guy in Dante Thornton Jr. Now, yes, he's a rookie, and we have Trey Turner and also I went brain dead. Our other number 2 receiver. I think we have enough to stretch the field, and with Beck underneath, and you know, we also got 2 great tight ends. I don't see him having a place there because he has sort of a disruptive presence, as I've seen everywhere he's gone in the locker room. Regardless of his talent, sometimes this part just doesn't fit the room.
Got you. Okay.
That's
okay.
why it brought a smile on my face as soon as you said his name.
Well, you know, with a talent like him, especially, and this segues into the next topic, with a talent like him, and you guys brought in Geno Smith, hey, because we seen what Geno Smith did up in Seattle. I mean,
with no line.
And I'm just be honest. I thought his career was done. I'm like, why is the Seattle picking up Geno Smith? And he completely turned his whole career around. So now he's a Raider. So I guess my question then is, do you think that he could be the stabilizing force that obviously Carr couldn't be? Do you think he could be the stabilizing force? And we'll go with you, Violator. You go first with it.
Yes, as far as Geno, like I say, I've followed his whole career too. And this guy, he's athletic enough, but he's accurate and he's smart. So that's what I like about him. And he plays within himself. So him pairing back up with Coach Carroll, that's almost like getting back on a bike after 20 years. You still know how it works. And having the talents around him, I know when he played with the Giants, he pretty much had that. He was playing one-handed. When he went to Seattle, he had definitely no O-line help. So that's why he threw so much, and that may have helped his stats, but he took a lot of sacks also, which is hard on the body as you get older. So I look at him as a 2-year gap quarterback.
Okay. Jeremy, what's your thoughts on that one?
I think Geno Smith is an interesting fit there. Geno can play. He's a solid quarterback. He's never been or ever will be thought as an upper echelon QB, but he is smart. He's athletic enough. And he doesn't have to be a superhero with that team. If you give him enough time to make good decisions and there's talent around him, he might be the right fit for that team. And they can win some games with him.
Okay.
It'll be like Trent when the Ravens won the Super Bowl with Trent Dilfer.
Okay. Well, see, I had a better analogy. Being that you guys got Chip Kelly, I'm thinking he'll be your Will Howard with all the talent that he had at Ohio State.
Yes.
Because, I mean, man, look at the talent that the Raiders have assembled. They just and like you said, they just need a quarterback that's going to play within himself, not try to do too much and
manage the game.
Exactly.
Manage the game.
So
and people hate it when you say that, manage the game.
Right.
That doesn't mean the guy isn't talented. Look at your Peyton Mannings and your Brady's, for instance. It almost bit my tongue saying that, but these guys were superstars. But when it came time to manage the game, they knew how to slow it up, speed it up, or be very deceptive. And that's what I'm hoping to see out of Geno.
Okay. So wrapping it up, the talk of the day, Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers and the I can't even say the team's name. Aaron Rodgers and that team in the black and gold. So Jeremy, after this long awaited saga, what's your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers finally deciding that he's going to play for the Dark Kingdom?
Yeah, great. You mentioned Reek as a disruptive force in the locker room. Rodgers has proved himself to be that way as well. And coming full circle about Joe Flacco being a mentor. Unfortunately, our guy Will Howard did end up there in the black and gold, but we want to root for his career and success. And I don't think Rodgers is certainly going to be a mentor in that position. So Howard's going to be flying by himself a little bit to figure this thing out. If maybe he can still play, maybe he can't, but at least he'll cause some anxiety in that locker room and some distractions.
Yeah,
Right.
I think he's going to treat Will Howard just like he did Jordan Love.
Right.
You're on your own, kid. I ain't here to change your path.
I'm not a mentor.
Yes.
But wait a minute, at the top of the show, what do we say? Lead by example, and yeah, watch what I do and lead by example. So yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I mean, I hope that he causes as much disruption as he has been causing for the black and gold. I mean, I can't wish him well. I don't want him to be hurt, but yeah, I can't. I get
it. I get it. Yeah, you can't. That'd be sacrilegious.
Right. Well, guys, hey, with that, our hour is up. Hey, third show was a winner. Jeremy, thank you, sir. Violator, thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Love you.
Pleasure. Love you back, bro. Hey, anytime, man. During the season, let's do this again.
Yes, sir. And we'll see. Hey, and we'll see everybody next week. And that's a wrap. And we're